Hello, everyone, and welcome to Miami University Esports. Once again, we are back with Overwatch 2. I'm Xander Illis-Lewis, and I'm with...
My name is Elijah, otherwise known as Persuasions.
And we are here for our last two Nittany Invitational qualifying rounds for Miami University for this Nittany LAN. We are first up against University of Cincinnati, who is a school we have faced a few times before. The last time we did face them was at their own LAN, the Queen City Clash, last fall. Last fall. And that was a very fun time for a lot of people. And going into game today, we should be expecting pretty much the same thing we saw from them. They have a very good May player, top 500, that I got to watch a few VODs of from a little bit ago. And what are you expecting here today?
Honestly, I am looking forward to hopefully seeing a Zarya Reaper Lucio comp. I'm really into seeing that in a lot of these control hybrid maps, even some flashpoints if possible. I feel like it would be very interesting to see what the chemistry of both teams will look like when they get a chance to engage in a very close range meta, especially considering how strong it seems like a lot of these players are. I mean, a lot of these, not only players, but the characters are recently with these recent buffs lately. Just a very interesting change to see what will be going on for the actual game itself.
A little bit of prior information that we need to speak about as well is, in order to qualify for this LAN, each team needs to win 3 of their 4 qualifying rounds to get a spot in the LAN. So both teams here on the edge of their seats trying to get a spot. And even if they lose, they may still be able to get another one in the match coming at 9:15 later tonight. We do not know the teams then, because this is a bracket where we do not know our opponent until all matches are finished, because you match up against an opponent who has a similar win and loss ratio to you. So, on another note, today is the last 2 matches, so there will be no more qualifying for Nittany LANs after today. This is the last 2 matches. And the game tomorrow against OU, Ohio University, for the Battle of the Bricks is unfortunately going to be rescheduled. We do not know the date of that yet, but we will notify you as soon as possible come another live stream or media post on our Twitter or Instagram. But on another note, the storyline today is I want to actually see what University of Cincinnati is capable of, because they have improved a lot from what I've heard and what I've seen in the past few years, getting players, benefiting from these different high brawl metas that have been happening recently with the band picks and the different map picks that you can have. I am very interested to see how this match goes.
I'm actually I have not seen much of the compositions that both teams plan to use on these new recent map changes, but I do like the rivalry of Cincinnati versus the Miami team. I feel like it will be something that it gives both teams a chance to really show exactly which part of the meta they strive more closer to, which part of the play styles do they synergize more with, and more importantly, who makes it to this LAN qualifier.
Yeah, I will go into mention our players today will be our similar line of Poodoo Scooter, Nitrous Oxide, Alfonso, On, and Sire. They have been playing a lot together recently, doing a lot of scrims against various teams, getting their chemistry out there, because Sire is new to the main roster, so we will see how they do today. On another note, the players for Cincinnati are follows. We have Lightning, Stiffy T, Rohan, Ursik, Samson, Nacho, River, and Zek the Snake. We will see who those players will be the starting 5 for University of Cincinnati. I don't know if we have map pick yet or bans coming up, but we will be going on a little bit of a break here until we get you that information. We will see you very shortly. And we're back, and we have information about our map pick. We are heading to Oasis on Control, a very interesting map. We have not yet seen it being played this season so far. It'll be very interesting what both teams do. In the prospect of bans, our team has banned Tracer, and Cincinnati has banned Wu Yang, which is a very interesting ban considering only maybe one of our team members can really play that character very well.
Yes, I was very surprised by the Wu Yang ban. It feels like a very strong pick out toward the toward the player. But I guess they are trying to move away from the Wu Yang meta while still trying to use their competitive picks. It will be very interesting to see what their response is because of this. But I believe it will still be a very strong showing from both teams.
Yeah, and we are heading the game now. I would like to mention that map differential for this qualifying stage of this LAN is actually very important. Currently, Miami University has a little bit of a deficit because our first match was a win against a forfeiting team, so our map differential is not as good. Oh, and we are heading back out the game. It seems there may have been a little bit of a mistake about what the comp, or maybe something interesting happened there. But without the Wu Yang play, I suspect our team will probably be running a Lucio type brawl.
Yes, I was very much looking forward to the game. I was already at the edge of my seat before the game even started, but apparently there was a issue. It seems like someone could not pick something and that there ended up being some tech difficulties. But it seems like we'll most likely be right back into it very quick soon. We just have to figure out what the issue is, and honestly, oh, we're already right back. Perfect.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of issue on a PC for Cincinnati. A little bit of conversation between both team captains there, but we will be seeing what both teams decide to play here in a few seconds. I'm interested to see if Miami decides to go for a little bit of hybrid dive, considering this point does have some high ground. They do want to get Sire up there to give him a little bit of space, and we do see the mirror Zarya, which is expected with how strong this character is right now.
Yes, I'm actually really excited for the Zarya. I was really trying to hope away from the Orisa versus Orisa matchup. You know, I know it's still a very strong comp, but I really like seeing the Zarya Lucio combo with each other, hopefully with a Reaper, but maybe we'll have to see after both Symmetra switch for their TP.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting here. We do have, unfortunately, Sire is going to be good at breaking down that Zarya, but Rohan is going to put a lot of pressure on the back line. Both teams are TPing, probably going to go either right side or down the middle. We do see Poodle Scooter going down the right, and it seems Cincinnati split up. Going to be interesting to see this first fight. They do get that high ground for Sire. On is on that Reaper, and Ursik is also on that Reaper. We're going to be seeing a little bit of a Reaper brawl for both teams, and Poodle Scooter decides to just go to that low ground, help out on a little bit, make some space. But both teams are kind of spread out here. They got to be careful. They don't want to get caught off across that middle point.
Yes, Reaper's doing a very good job pulling for his team, but we have a Cassidy versus Ryan fight in the back, which results in the death of Sire. But we will have a potential chance for them to regroup after they get at least one more pick off of this, or if they peel backwards for their Sire to get back in time.
It's unfortunate Sire got a little split off there. He didn't drop down at the same time as the rest of the team. Hooter is out of bubbles. He has to play this very carefully. Oh, on a little cut off. He doesn't really have much. Nitrous Oxide is there for the peel, helping him out. Oh, his deck is falling so low. On also low. He's barely getting out with these teleports.
Ooh, An was very good at keeping back the defense for the Sire to get back, but now he's even back to try to finish up with a cleanup, most likely to capture the point, thanks to the Zarya Reaper strategy together, knocking down the rest of the team and leaving for a quick cleanup that leads to the capture of the point after two more. Actually, that is it. Now they capture.
Yeah, very good cap there from Miami. I will say on there, being a little bit better at surviving than Ursik. Knowing that he's saving his teleports to get out while Ursik was using them to engage a little bit was kind of a mistake because he got caught out, didn't have Wraith, and just got melted by Hooter. And we do have a contender rush going out here. Very big pick. On does get Samson. That's huge. On just going straight all the way to the spawn. Miami does not care. They are cleaning this up fully. On getting that first perk, and Miami using the one all and getting an instant to 30%. Very good. If they can control these ults pretty well here in a few moments, they could get this, just snowball this.
A very nice cleanup from Miami University. It was very good considering rush, and everyone followed on it very nicely. If anything, now it will be up to UC to do a now reenact it. But we have a Reaper flank instead to counter before they even get a chance to go up there. Now leading to there to be a 3-2 death kill deficit, but now leading to only one more person in a team cleanup again, thanks to the cleanup of Sire and thanks to Zarya. Doing a very strong showing for both of them, leaving both teams with a chance to do, it seems like a Lucio beat battle coming up next. It will be the second to last fight most likely.
That was very good there from On. Good timing with that Blossom. He did really get a little bit caught, and unfortunately, University of Cincinnati did not use that information to kite back. They decided to just keep pushing forward and cost them. Good try from Rohan using the OC, and it does seem to have a fight in the middle. Grab does come out. Huge. Both grabs come out. Beat come outs from both team, and unfortunately, that's the extra ult coming from Cincinnati. Samson popping that contender rush, getting enough damage push out to burst down all of Miami inside that grab. Very unfortunate there. Miami top 3 ults, Cincinnati also top 3, but the 3-4 Cincinnati was enough to win the fight.
Yes, it was very unfortunate that ended up like that. I was expecting there to be a much more fast high noon, but I guess still there was a lot of time to be able to regroup after that. And even with that being said, it's now 98 to 8%. We will see how they respond to this by first most likely getting the Soldrin off of the high ground.
Yeah, and Contender Rush is up on the side of Miami from Nitrous Oxide. We'll see what they decide to do with that. They do have to play very careful though, because Ursik does have this Blossom, which isn't that good of a team player ult anymore, but it is good to allow at least an A pick on being so aggressive, so good on this Reaper, putting pressure, forcing the entire team off. Blossom does come out, trying to kill Voodoo Scooter. It was a bad targeting though, because he had a bubble and already another half up. And unfortunately, Ursik goes down thanks to the Contender Rush damage. And the On gets lightning on the back line, and I don't think Cincinnati will have another touch here. There's a Zarya battle going on here, and Hooter's getting melted down. Great Stuzu from Nitrous Oxide, keeping Hooter alive. And they win round 1 on Oasis. Very good there. That was kind of a bully moment there from Sire and on Ursik.
Yes, it was actually a very strong showing from Miami University. It was actually a chance for them to have 2 fights from UC's side instead of 1, but it seemed like that one fight went along so long that they did not get a chance to regroup before it was too late. A very sneaky ult from the Ursik towards the enemy Sire, but it seemed like that was just too early of a as they immediately picked them off and was able to just do quick cleanup after that, leading to a 1-round capture. It will be interesting to see how they respond this time after they get done with their Symmetra TPs.
Yeah, it was interesting there to see the just the quality that changes for ults for both teams. It is unfortunate. The fact that Nitrous Oxide did have his Kisana Rush, and it kind of just nullifies a lot of what Blossom can do. But we are going to see a little bit of a split fight on the left and the right. Miami's trying to stay together here. Maybe trying to get a little bit of push on this right side. On is going to that high ground, going to try to get the Sojourn to back off a little bit. Can't do much, though. He has to play very careful here. Without Wraith, Reaper is very vulnerable.
Ooh, it seems like they are doing a nice poke from both teams to see who can contest the fastest, but it will be up to Reaper to maintain the high ground while keeping the Zarya at bay. But it seems like they are having a nice battle between the two. Ooh, leading to almost having a capture, but they now have a little bit more time to keep the point going with their 50%. Now having a Zarya fight that's, ooh, barely just enough to keep them on point. But I think maybe it will be time for them to do a regroup now.
Yeah, unfortunately, On did fall there. He got a little bit caught out. Pooter did have to use a lot of his bubbles to save himself, but they do get the Reaper trade. That is very good. That's a lot of pressure gone on the side of Miami. Pooter can then play a little bit more aggressive without that Reaper up, and he is melting down the enemy Zarya. He saw that top bubble. He W keyed forward. Beautiful. And Nitrous Oxide built these Kitsune Rushes so quickly. Look at the ult percentage of the rest of Miami.
It is a beautiful showing from them. I did not expect that to go so one-sidedly. It was a quick turnaround from Miami where they used, even with one person down, to still keep that objective going with aggression using Kasune and Zarya, and they have now kept the point for 50%. Now having multiple alpha go into this next fight, and now even pressuring back the Reaper. Ooh, but a flick off of the Reaper first. So now off to Zarya and Cassie for a quick, ooh, high noon zone. But now they at least have a chance to hold point if they can get past this Kasune rush. They just have to fight back and most likely unfortunately having to regroup, unfortunately. But still a nice 70% chance for Miami versus having a capture now going to UC side.
Going back to that previous fight where the person did die earlier there, it was unfortunate because they could have, Cincinnati could have kept that faster. They just pushed forward once On died. I don't know why they stayed back so long. And going back on that fight, very unfortunate there from On. He did not press Wraith quick enough. He got bursted down due to the fact of that overcharge from Rohan. It was very unfortunate there, and they just managed to get that point immediately. They do have a grab coming out here. We'll see what Group decides to do with it. Oh, beautiful pick out. Seeing the over-aggressiveness from Lightning. Grab does come out on top of the Zarya. The counter grab also comes out, but we did pop beat a little bit there. We do get a little bit chance to survive. It's like a 3v4. Oh, On does pop the Blossom and gets no one, though. Samson does go down. It's a lot of healing gone from Cincinnati. But OC does come out from Rohan. Can't really do anything with it because he's in such a bad position. Nitrous does have the Kitsune Rush at 4R here. He does pop. He does come out, and that really counters a lot of what Kitsune Rush can do. Nitrous falling low, getting back up. Pooter is just full charge on this point. He needs to find an angle to where he can get some hits with his charge.
Miami is not getting a chance to relax as UC is really trying to push the aggression now. It seems like they were able to use a lot of off angles to get them to get back the point, and now they have a chance to hold it as a 50% now. It will be up to Miami to respond. Oh, but there is a early pickoff from the Lucio, leaving them with a chance to where they need about 10% more to regroup, but still giving a chance to where it's still very winnable. It is up to how they handle this new flank of Sojourn before the railgun comes alive and the overclock to see how they will get a attainable recapture from this.
And it does seem like they realize that Sojourn is a dangerous potential on the high ground. They need to get rid of that variable, and they do and Han does teleport in to put a lot of pressure. That Lucio falling low. High Noon does come out to give a little bit of aggression pick for Siren. He does get the Reaper. It was good to get that trade. Pooter does fall though, and Siren as well. It was unfortunate that Cincinnati just had ults where Miami didn't. Miami might have a retouch here. We're going to have to play it very quick though, and Cincinnati realizes that, so they're going to push up a little bit. Pooter does go on the Doom to get that retouch. Unfortunately, having to get rid of that 70% that he could have had to grab because the rest of his team maybe not be able to push that. Maybe could have. Kitsune Rush does come out from Cincinnati, and Pooter just gets melted down. That's unfortunate. This It does seem the second round will go to Cincinnati here. There is a little bit of a touch from on the venture, but second round going to Cincinnati. They figured it out a lot there.
Yes, I am actually very impressed with their Sojourn gameplay. I did not expect the Switch to end up being that strong, but it actually did very, very well when it came down to holding the mid-range down. Miami did a very good showing of trying to establish dominance of the high ground, but it was just a little bit too late as the percentage was already at 80% by the time they had already gotten a chance to execute a strategy. Now both teams having 1-1, and it will be up to seeing how both teams play into this new version of comp with each other. Most likely there being the Sojourn versus an answer from Miami University.
We'll see what both teams had to do. That does feel like that last little round there was, maybe it's because that we did waste that container rush a little bit. We didn't really make any use of it. Meanwhile, Cincinnati had 3 ults to just our like 2, and we were building them a little too slowly compared to Cincinnati. We will be seeing a high ground fight here because they need this high ground on this point. Is so crucial. We were falling really low already. Don't know what happened there, but a little unfortunate there. We get a little bit of technical issue there on our side, but we do have a fight down on the main side of the point. We will be going, and we do pick off the Reaper thanks to Cyrus headshot. That was very good. We do have a little bit of a brawl here with a third-person cam. We do have on the Genji, an interesting switch, but one I'm very happy to see is a very good Genji player. I didn't even notice that. Oh, already finding a really low pick, trying to get that Curie, but falling a little low, but he does get that health back. That's the beauty of Genji, is that you don't have to really heal him because he's so quick and you find his health backs.
Yes, I was actually not expecting the Genji pick here, but I really like it. I really like the matchup of the Cassie versus Sojourn and the Reapers versus Genji. It gives them a chance to be able to fight from a hybrid playstyle while still giving them a chance to still keep up the mid-range fight when needed. Well, unfortunately, Alfonso going down, followed by Genji, but it is a 3v4 right now. It will be interesting to see how Miami plays it. It might be time for a reset, though.
Seems Pryor's going to maybe try to get as much percentage as possible. That was very unfortunate. Kind of an aggressive play there from Alfonso, but he gets picked off because of it. Lightning managed to win to 1v1, and On coming out a little too late. And both got picked off, kind of costing Miami the point there.
Yes, I was actually not expecting that. I really hope there is a much more aggressive regroup with Lucio next time, as it seems like he keeps getting isolated. I think that even the enemy team might be able to notice this, since that might be the second time that this happened. But now we have a response from Miami with a Kasune rush, leading to try to keep domination of the high ground. But first they are nickel and diming the Zarya off of the high ground, and now they have a free capture as long as they keep playing the aggression.
And Zarya in a very bad position. They saw him drop, popped out bubble, and got the pick. A little bit early there from Zek. He shouldn't have dropped down that quickly. They do get the trade onto the Genji. Pryor needs to stay up here for Miami, otherwise when he falls. OC does come out, trying to use that Kitchen rush with the OC to do a lot of damage. Pryor falling instantly to like 100 HP from 400. The power of OC plus Fury Rush. But they managed to cap the point early. That was kind of a waste from Rohan and Samson. That is going to cost them.
Yes, he did not need to keep that overclock as long as when he did. He could have held it for just a little bit longer, as he didn't really get a chance to do much. He definitely got the support and the tank to a very low angle, but he still had more time where he could use it in a moment like this. Now where they have 70% growing higher, and now we have a Genji ultra respond with a Zarya bubble. Now leading to them having to do multiple ults just to respond.
Oh, but the University of Cincinnati gets a counter blade grab to feel a little bit of pressure off them. That was very good, having that beat to sustain. Alfonso also used beat, but it was a little too late. And unfortunately, it was just very good placement from Zek there, managing to grab On out of his blade and managing to save Lightning, who, if he would have fallen, there would have been a lot less sustained for Cincinnati. It may have turned out differently.
Yes, it was very touch and go for a second, but thanks to the enemy Zarya from UC, they did amazing with that re-counter strategy. Now they have a chance to regroup from 50% with high ground, and now, carrying flank to Genji and picking him off very early. They will be up to most likely a reset coming in a couple seconds, but they still have a very good opportunity with 60 seconds versus 95 seconds. And even with that, having a Cassie Kasune rush to combine this versus no ult if they play this quickly enough against UC, but they have to play this very quickly as the Kasune and the Sojourn will be rushing in very soon with the ult.
It is unfortunate. They have to play very careful. He does not want to get deflected. Decide to do. They do manage to get the Zarya, which a lot of pressure off Puder. Puder can kind of run free. They need to get this Sojourn off the high ground. On hitting deflect a little bit early there, that's very unfortunate. They do get the Sojourn though, and it does counter the OC, but it is a 2v3, and Kitsune Rush does come out. Very bad ball for the retouch from Cincinnati. And Nitrous Oxide falls because of lightning. And unfortunately, might be a little bit of they do have one more fight. Miami does have one more fight here. It was kind of unfortunate. Alfonso getting picked off like that cost them a lot.
Yes, I really hope that they do notice that there is a common denominator of a lot of early pickups coming on from Alfonso. I think there just needs to be a little bit more playstyle involving with each other, and then they can all hold this down very securely. But that turned out to be a very long stagger that they essentially cost them a couple of seconds on this point, where now they have to do a bit of a rush capture in the next 10 seconds.
Puder is very close to this grab, unlike Cincinnati, because they did go ball to retouch, and they do get the retouch, so they are on the higher ground. The both beat for Cincinnati does come out, and the blade does come out too, hunting down Sire, and then probably hunting down Nitrous Oxide, and he does manage to survive. Very good movement from Nitrous Oxide. The grab does come out from Screw trying to burst down the Zara. He's falling so low there. He doesn't have enough. Puder does fall down. Gosh, the targeting needs to be a little bit better from Miami. And Alfonso goes down as well. They're just gonna have to stagger touch this now. They need to pick targets better. On falling that early in that first game goes to Cincinnati.
Yes, it was a very strong showing from UC. I can't blame them. They was if anything, the biggest notation I want to make is that there was just a lot of identifying targeting going toward Alphonse, as multiple times he got picked off, and that even though it can only just be a couple times that makes the difference, all it took was those one moments where he couldn't just get back to his team fast enough, and that created this result.
Yeah, Alfonso getting picked off first there was a little bit unfortunate. He was also kind of a little bit over aggressive a few times, especially there. They could have won that point very easily if he didn't dive that Sojourn. Should have just let On deal with it himself. The Sojourn was 1 HP and Puder was coming up the back end. If he would have died there, they may have had a much better chance because he was pretty close to beat at that moment. They could have had the game right then and there. But unfortunately, they're going to be 0-1 going to this next map. We do not know yet. Very good showings from both teams. University of Cincinnati doing a very good job coming back from that 1-0 deficit on that map, and they managed to figure out what they need to do to switch things around. Their Sojourn also was playing phenomenally, hitting very, very nice shots all the way around the board. We'll see what both teams decide to do. Miami needs to readjust here a little bit and not play as aggressive on the side of the healers. Very good there from Nitrous Oxide with a lot of his movement, a lot of his utility. Also, Alfonso having some very, very nice beats, but he needs to slow down just a little bit. Not much, just enough to where the Sojourn cannot find these angles on him that he has been finding with these railguns and headshotting him so much. He needs to play a little bit more careful and honestly a little bit closer to Puder.
Yes, I actually really, in all honesty, I actually love his aggression. If anything, the only problem that I really had is that it just felt like the aggression was just too far ahead of where his team was. Just just a couple seconds, a little bit slower. Give your team time to engage with you. Give your team time to have these off angles where you are and where you are not, where you can get a chance to do more. Since this Sojourn is a threat, it seems like this was their ace that they seem to have picked out. And if just given a little bit more time to isolate these angles that Soldier may be trying to go on, or even angles that Soldier may not be able to contest as aggressively, it would just give more time to just really dive the enemy team and get a chance to really bring the showing of how strong Miami team is.
Yeah, we'll see what both teams decide to run. I believe it's either hybrid or escort. Cannot remember exactly for this next map. If it is hybrid, it is going to be a little bit of a struggle here for Miami to win that map. Hybrid is not their most favorable game mode. We will see what both teams decide to do. However, I will say losing that map on Oasis was kind of a punch in the gut, considering Control is one of our highest win rates. However, I will say Oasis is a map we have not played a lot, and we are actually going to Servasa instead. Very interesting considering this previous Tuesday, we played hybrid second. So we will see what both teams decide to do. Servasa generally is a very good map for Miami. They play it a lot and have a very high win rate on it. Man, we have banned Ball for our pick, which is very interesting. Granted, I do believe Cincinnati's tank is quite the good ball player, and Cincinnati have banned Reaper, which is very, very interesting. I mean, it makes some sense. I will be honest, Han was kind of doing a little bit of a diff against Cincinnati's Reaper. We will see what both teams decide to play. We will probably be seeing either the Zarya again or the Orisa from Pooter. However, if that Zarya is picked, he unfortunately will not be able to play Orisa at all, considering just how hard of a counter pick she is.
Yes, I actually really like the picks of the Ball and the Reaper. I feel like it eliminates the choices that either both teams wanted to not have to deal with, and now it gives the rise to bringing back Wu Yang, bringing back the chances where we can pile some of these alts combined with each other, and even giving a chance to even strive more into a lot of off angles against the fellow DPS and enemy DPS, showing the strengths of both support characters more than just having to force any type of hybrid or dive necessarily.
Yeah, we will see what both teams decide to play here in a few minutes. We will be getting in the game here shortly. I do believe both teams just trying to regroup, figure out a plan for this next match. We will see what Miami decides to do here in a bit, but we will be going on a very, very short break. Be back soon. And we are in map Saravasa. Both teams are running that Zarya mirror once again. That character is just so good right now in these team coordinated plays. It's hard to not pick her over anything else, thanks to her rapid buffs the past few patches. Both teams are running their respective hit scans once again with Lucio Kiri on the side of Miami, but however, it is Wu Yang Kiri on the side of Cincinnati, which is a very interesting pick. And University of Cincinnati also running Ursik on the Tracer, who we did ban it that last map, so we didn't get to see it. On is on the Genji, though. We'll see what both teams decide to do. Slightly different comps, using the same scenario. Nitrous Oxide falling immediately because of the Tracer combo with the Sojourn. That's very unfortunate. It's just a 3v5, and it seems like first take of the point will be going to Cincinnati.
Very unfortunate from the side of Miami University. I was expecting that to be a much more aggressive showing, but it seems like the Tracer change mixed with the Sojourn was a very strong change for them. It now has forced toward a Cassie, Genji, and now Wu Yang being interested back into the mix. It will be both teams having Wu Yang, but it being a difference in DPSs. We will see how they respond to this, as there will be a very similar ult economy with the Sojourn and Tracer right now, but it will be up to Genji to keep the aggression from the front line.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit of pick there on the Sojourn, trying to put pressure away from his supports. Very good playing there from On. He just needs to be very careful because this very good there. He finds the pick on the main target, getting Rohan off with that Sojourn is their main priority on this backline. This Kiri is just not turning for him really. And that's the beauty of Genji right there. Putting so much pressure on the backline that even if he dies, their tank getting exploded without their attention on him. Very good Genji play there from On, and very good teamwork from the rest of Miami staying together. This is what I like to see.
A very strong follow-up from the team with Genji's flank. I really appreciate that Genji got a chance to just mark the Kiri down and keep her from being able to heal the Zarya mid-team fight, forcing the Zarya to unfortunately kill herself. Now giving Miami a chance to recover any lost time with there being a difference of 20 seconds between the two, 30 seconds between the two. But now being both teams having Kasune rushes versus a High Noon from Miami's side, responding with one pick from on the tank, and now they're being forced on another regroup as without a team they cannot hold this point. But now Zarya is just cleaning up the back line, and now it will be forced to do a last second touch most likely.
This is something else. Look at the ult economy difference in Zek and Blue Scooter. Blue Scooter is building ult so much quicker from Zek, because Zek just has to play so defensive because On is taking all this attention from his healers. And I think Cincinnati is maybe going to go for a touch here. They do decide to go for with the Tracer. But that, beautiful 180 Nitrous Oxide. I love to see that. Nitrous Oxide is such a deadly support, a flex support, because he has this aim that feels almost DPS-like. Very good turnaround there for Miami for that point. They didn't have to pop any more blades or any more ults besides Blade for On, and it does seem like they are kind of even in that regard thanks to Cincinnati switching off the Tracer on to the Genji. We will probably see a grab play here to get this point locked down in the first few seconds here.
Yes, I really appreciate that. This aggression I keep seeing from Genji, plus the Wu Yang change seems to have really brought out Miami strips, now keeping them at bay from the UC side, and it seems like now it will be up to having to mark this Genji for them to even survive it, but now it will be up to seeing how they respond to this Sojourn over time. Although it seems like the Genji got picked off a little bit too early, but still there the Sojourn is still forced to have to back up the force to Wu is not too late. It is now a response of both Wu Yang also toward the enemy team and friendly teams, but unfortunately resulting in a 3 versus 3 currently.
Yeah, but Miami does have control of the point. Nitrous is hiding behind this. How is he able to get that Kitsune off and get the all charge there? Zek just needed to turn around and see the Kiri behind him. That was such a big mistake. He was focusing so hard on getting Siren. Siren's just looping around the pillar. Died there at the end, but they managed to get time for Buddha Scooter and On to come back. They didn't get anything there from Cincinnati. Very big mistake.
Honestly, giving very good props to Nitrous. A very, very sneaky Kasune rush, resulting in keeping the point now for 70%. And now it is up to most likely this being the last fight possible before they have to do a retesting. But unfortunately, taking Kiri out mid-fight. Ooh, but Sire, we're taking the turn back with a Zarya ult, now resulting in there being a 3v2, but still being from Miami side. It is up to Genji to take out Wu Yang, but Wu Yang has taken out the Cassidy and the enemy Wu Yang. It is now a Genji versus Trae. And now it is On, holding point for Miami, now resulting in a 2-0. Is very impressive showing from Genji. I love this aggression being shown, and it will be very interesting to see how they respond to this now, as there will be a difference in ultimate between Genji and
I love that from On. Very good there. Cincinnati also popped a lot of ults there that didn't really pay off too well, and the 2v2 nearly didn't go in Miami's favor, but very good target prioritization from On, and honestly, very good movement all around. The Kiri couldn't really hit him, and he does have Blade coming up here. We'll see what he can do with it. On another note, Uber Cincinnati is going on to the Roadhog, who is a very interesting character this season. He did get quite a big buff, getting a 2x multiplier on all his shots now. So we'll see what decides to happen. But unfortunately, like a singular shot is just instant death. Oh, very, very good from On there. Realizing he heard that slide from the Sojourn and decided not to climb the wall and look for her around the bottom. Very good game sense. And yeah, they just collapse on the rest of the team. And get some good staggers here on the Roadhog and Kiri. They're gonna get at least 30% before they can even regroup and retouch.
A very good choice of target priority from the Genji with his blade. I really liked how he made sure to focus at least one support before even going toward the kill on the soldier, and it kept the side of University of Cincinnati a very big disadvantage. And now they have a Wu Yang out to even contest even on top of that. But it seems like UC side has gotten a chance to kite back just in time, but now responding to a Miami's Kasune to even double down on the damage, killing the support of Kiri, and now forcing potentially a last fight option now on UC side. It is now having a graph and a strong graph. It's right before the point can even be touched, forcing them to have to touch in the next 10 seconds.
This ends now.
They need to keep applying this pressure because they might have a chance to touch. Maybe if this Zarya just has to push through. The Wu Yang is going for the touch, and they get it. Very nice there from Miami. They played that so well. University of Cincinnati did not realize how fast that clock was ticking down, and you can just see how excited they are in that bottom left there. They played that so well. Going 1-1 this series. Nitrosox, I have to point out, the amount of Kiri rushes he had him won pretty much every single point, and him hitting these shots was so imperative to winning these games. Like that right there, Ursing, I have to say, get on putting on an MVP performance. That map, that was incredible for him. His gameplay there was what you want to see from any very strong Genji player. The amount of pressure he was putting on the back line, making them turn, allowing Puder to just melt down Snek very easily. And then also him getting those blades and knowing target prioritization so well, knowing not to go for the character that can TP away, or even having great game sense listening to when that Sojourn slides and is able to realize, let's just not waste time climbing this wall. He dropped down. I'm going to look for him now. And then also having such good mechanics, winning a 1v2 against a Wu Yang Kiri, which a lot of times some Genjis aren't able to do that because some healers are so strong and they do so much damage, but his movement is just so much better. He made something that shouldn't have work, and he single-handedly pretty much won that second point because there was so much trading going on. It was thanks to him they even managed to get that point, because I'm pretty sure Miami wouldn't have had it, or Cincinnati might have had another touch going on if they could have had it. But we will see what map we decide to go into. Map 3, that was very good for Miami.
Yes, I am very surprised on how aggressive the Genji played with the combo. The synergizing of the Zarya plus the Genji plus the Kiri. If anything, I expected it to be a little bit more contesting from both sides, but it was just a very strong showing. I was very impressed by seeing the Kiri flanking right with the Genji, but from a separate angle. I appreciate seeing the Genji constantly marking different areas of the team of UC to try to see where the weaknesses were and exposing them as many times as they could to try to force more objective fights where they had to play as a team and have to use more numbers, more alts. If anything, even the ult economy between Puder and the enemy Zarya, it just was a very strong showing from both teams, but it ended up being where the dominance just came from honestly the DPS and tank side of Miami.
I will say having Wu Yang on our side there was a very helpful, having that extra speed boost. And honestly, I feel like Wu Yang is one of the best supports for a Genji player just because the amount of initiation you can do with Wu Yang dealing 100 damage per or full charge if you direct hit it. Dash, just one or two shurikens instantly gets a target, and he was following up on those so well. And also, I love the use of Wu Yang ult, pretty much only popping it on Puder when he was about to die, or on Genji to initiate, which was the start of that last fight that just kept going and going and going because Miami was like, we're pretty much in their spawn. There's only 40 to 30 seconds left. Let's just pop so many ults that they have to keep kiting and kiting and then grab them. Even if we die, we still win the point. It worked so well. And we'll see what map they decide to do, but Miami really got their foot in that door now. 1-1. And now we got our bands and map. We are going to Coliseo, a push map, which we have seen maybe a few times. I can't exactly remember what push maps we've played so far this season. I will say push isn't our worst game mode. It's not our best. That was Flashpoint, but it is pretty good. It is a pretty good mode for us. UC is putting in a sub. We have decided to ban Sojourn, and UC has banned Zarya, realizing just how much of a better Zarya Pooter is. You saw it in the ult differential, how quick Pooter was building ults, knowing when to use right click and knowing when to just focus on. I mean, he really never used the left click, the beam, on any squishies. It was only the right click. And then anytime that Zarya was in his face, he just held left click and hit W. And his bubble priority was so good. Nitrous Oxide also, and Alfonso in the back, like keeping him up. Nitrous being so sneaky on this Kiri, knowing positioning. And we will see what both teams decide to play without Zari in question. It is going to be very interesting. And once again, we have to remind everyone that whenever you ban a character, you can only ban it once in the series, which is very good for us because having the ability to put Alfonso on that Wu Yang helps out so much. And we are here on Kalseo.
I was not expecting there to be a ban from both sides of such strong picking. It now leaves them in a position where they have to now have a non-Zarya versus a non-Sojourn, and I like that. It forces both teams to really show what kind of things they have up their sleeve, what kind of other synergies, what other playstyles, what other team synergies they have in mind for this. And even though I am expecting there to be still a strong Wu Yang, is now going to be Orisa plus maybe both teams just going into the Kiri Wu Yang. It will be a choice of whether UC would like to switch to poke or if they would like to keep around brawl. But either way, very strong game for both of them, and we'll be seeing how it will be Genji. So it will be a Genji Freya versus Cassidy Genji, a very interesting choice of both teams.
I do feel like this is slightly better for Miami with this comp, just because it does feel like Freya is kind of a more hybrid sniper hit scanner than just the pure hit scan of Sire on McCree, who has that stun, which can help with the Genji. But Pooter has to be very careful because this Freya can still put in a lot of work on their backline. And already on getting the trade onto Ursik, and look how low the enemy Orisa's fallen. On has to back up a little bit. We do lose Alfonso early on, which is a little bit bad, but we did get a trade on Ursik. There's a lot of pressure gone. Unfortunately, Pooter does not have a lot of resources to keep him up. He has to play very safe with his utility here.
I was not expecting there to be such an early kickoff against the Genji, but still a very strong showing from Genji. If anything, now it gives them a it's a little bit too soon. I thought it was going to give them a chance to re-engage, but now it seems like there is going to be a very quick cleanup from UC's side. Very good pickoffs with Wu Yang and Orisa working together. Maybe a little bit of the nickel and diming from Freya as well. Now forcing Miami to go into a Freya pick themselves. A Freya Genji versus Freya Genji. A mirror comp against both teams.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Pooter is, in my opinion, the better Orisa player. And we do have Stiffy instead of Snake here, which is a little bit interesting to notice. That's probably why they decided to ban Zarya, because maybe Snake isn't that good as Orisa as Stiffy is. We'll see what both teams decide. Sand Rush comes out from Nitrous Oxide, on falling down, and the Genji 1v1 early. It is very unfortunate. They're trying to burst down this Orisa. Then Suzu comes out. Nitrous Oxide has to play very safe here. Orisa doesn't have anything, and they need Ursa getting picked off. Wonderful there from Tyre, hitting those shots on Ursik. Pooter falling really low, trying to pop that E. And they do get a counter Casino Rush. You have to play very careful here. Pooter going into a line of sight. You can't be seen. That's not a good idea. You gotta stay out there a little bit. Beautiful tracking from Alfonso, getting at Samson before he died. Both healers for Cincinnati are done. And they do get a pick on Rohan. They do have to be a little bit careful here. Ursik getting Nitrous Oxide, maybe getting Sire here too. That's very bad. Anon just trying to find a health pack. Ursik doing much better this map than he did last. They really have to focus up here on the side of Miami.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. I was expecting them to have some kind of signs that they would be having a pickoff, but it seems like now they are having a cleanup fight that should have been, it was about a minute and a half long, but now they still have plenty of time on the map. They just have to recover about 36% per meters actually, and now it will be up to seeing exactly how this next fight goes, as it will be a lot of ult coming from both teams.
There's going to be a high ult fight here. They are playing very well and they do get the Dragon Blade with the Wu Yang ult to go in, trying to find a pick. Unfortunately, I don't think Han will get one. Pooter's maybe going in to do a little bit of counterplay. If they can get this, this will be very good. A very nice counterplay there. Hooters seeing that the team was separated was like, I'm just going to E into their backline, separate their healing from the Steffi, and it allowed them to get this checkpoint and get the lead a little bit. They did have to pop 2 ults to do that though. Cincinnati does have the ult advantage now. It's going to be changing a little bit here soon because Nitrous Oxide building this container so much quicker than Samson.
Yes, I very much love the Orisa aggression. It definitely kept them at bay, and now we'll be able to see how they respond. Oh, plus he could see they from the opposing sides, and now seeing a very strong showing from Orisa to do a javelin spear to the wall, forcing now to be a potentially 2v3, but now a unfortunate cleanup. But it was still a very strong showing. Now getting 20 meters above UC, and now having UC having a Kasune versus Miami's Boa. And it was just a very interesting fight. I'm looking forward to seeing how the next one goes.
Oh, that's very unfortunate. Sour game picked off that early. Try to find a little bit of sneaky pick, but unfortunately Rohan had the angle on him and hit him with that sniper shot and got finished up by Steffi. Han really needs to not die here. It'd be very bad if he'd fall as well. They need to play to just have a beautiful. That is what you need to do when you get a staggered. You need to find a sneaky pick to re-get the advantage. And that was what Miami did there. And now they can just gain control of this robot because they do have 5 now. That was very lucky on the side of Sire. That would have been bad if they lost the lead there because they had that little push. They need to play this well. Miami is on the ult disadvantage here by quite a bit. Samson does have that ult. There is a missed bowl there from Pryor. That's very unfortunate. Kinrush just come out. They really had to kite this, get back as quick as possible. Hooter is popping all of his abilities to just run backwards, which is what you need to do when Kinrush is up. You can get melted so easily. And they do manage to get out all alive. Very good. Oh, unfortunate there. Rohan finding a pick on Sire, trying to just kind of diffing him on the side of the Freya.
I was really much looking forward to seeing there to being a little bit more aggression from both teams, but it seems like now they are taking the aggression on the point, going to the Lucio hallway, but now it seems like there would be a pick off from both sides. Nitrous going down to their Trae, and now there being a cleanup fight from Miami's side, where it will be a Genji Blade plus the Wu Yang all versing each other. But now Genji cleaning up the Wu Yang and the Scooter finishing the Genji, now resulting in a most likely domino of the point being recaptured on Miami's side. It will be another cleanup fight to keep the fight going, but it seems that now there will be a better chance of engagement from both teams, as there will be 2 ults coming from Miami's side and 3 ults coming from UC side. It will be up to seeing how both teams react to this. Actually, it will be 3 on 3.
It was very interesting there. Nitrous Oxide did make a little bit of a mistake in the previous 2 fights, teleporting into like an ult like that. That's very bad. And he does get picked off. Cooter's solo, just having to hit the ult instantly to try to get some leeway. And unfortunately, very good getting Stiffy. Even though they're 2 down, they go down again. Sire getting 1 as well, and then maybe getting another one. And On picks it up. Will On be able to do the 1v2 like he did earlier? Unfortunately, got double stuck by Rohan. Rohan on this Freya is so good. I don't know why I was playing it earlier, but I will say there that in the previous fight, Ursik and Lightning comboed their ults and did make the mistake. They decided to go for Pooter when he had gold up. Wasn't that good. He got no use from the Wu Yang ult, and it allowed On just to go to their backline, kill Lightning, and then kill Ursik off the combo.
Yes, a very strong showing from Lightning and from Sternson. As I'm really interested to see how they respond to this next fight, because they did a very good job of picking off the Kiriko very early, and it seems that now there gives it another chance to regroup with this next fight. But now there will be a early fight from the enemy Freya picking off the Genji with the help of the Genji, and now will be a 4v5. But now cleaning back up the clean up the teams at first, but now is back to an even fight with 3v3, and now is 2v2. Unfortunately, it will be a cleanup now, but still a very good strong shot.
Here's the thing, Pooter playing this very smart, getting out so he can breathe a little bit, because they do have a little bit of leeway before they get that lead. They need to control this very, very carefully. Cincinnati did pop 2 ults there. On cannot be playing like that, and that bleed costed him. Why did he just stand still? That was very bad. And unfortunately, the blade comes in from Ursik. He's getting melted down fairly quickly. Hooter trying to 1v1, and Nitrous Oxide wins the duel against Ursic with the Dragon Blade. Just the overall mechanics from both sides. And Nitrous Oxide does manage to get out. He is so sneaky on this Fury. He died a few times because of a little bit of a misuse of teleport, missed a little bit of mistiming. But that's all good if they can just keep this going here. Alfonso falling a little low on the Wuyang, and luckily all the teams back together. Nitrous Oxide does have this rush. We have a very good ult fight coming up here from both sides. Lots of ults from all around. Oh, it's gonna be interesting. They're trying to get that. Oh, they do get the trade. Screw doesn't go down the middle of ult though. Now, unfortunately, On doesn't find anyone with the blade. He does manage to help Sire pick up the kill on Rohan. It is a 2v2. Ooh, trying to get this Genji. Oh, unfortunate there. Sire just trying to keep a little bit of contest for the rest of his team to spawn. He's trying to get a pick. That is very unfortunate there, and University of Cincinnati does control this point.
Very unfortunate fight. If anything, this still gives the team a very long time to be able to recontest this point, as we are 0.56 meters away. And if anything, I really appreciate that stagger, because if anything, it was a very positive stagger.
Oh, huge! Getting Samson there so good. She had Kiri rush up. That is such a good pick from Miami, and allows them to just retake this point. Because now what University of Cincinnati do, need to wait for Samson to get back with that ult, and it allows Sire enough time, and Alfonso hopefully enough time, to get their ults up, and they just have to have the team fight here, and then they have to win another fight when Miami get back. Miami trying to push this as far as possible, so even if they lose this next fight, they have another fight coming up.
Yes, very smart plan, actually. I really hope they end up making this work, as this is a very strong fight right here, where the corridor leaves many opportunities for both teams to engage, but On is very good at making these flanks. Plus they just used the Wuyang also. If anything, gives more opportunity to be able to engage. All they have to do is back up just a little bit longer and pick off the Genji, which they did, and now they are left with a 4v5. A very strong showing from On, and now will be the choice of how long they can kite this back before they can re-engage in just a couple moments.
Very good kite there. Have to wait out that Kirill. Kirill does so much into Orisa. They have to play it very carefully here. It does seem like the Genji might be coming back soon. They need to burst down this Orisa. It's a very good pick. They're just going to run this down now. Kiri falling low as well, and they win the point. Very nice there from Miami. We can hear them cheering behind us. They held that so well. They planned out that engage so perfectly. They realized they need to just push it as far forward as possible. Managed to get enough picks. There, we can hear them cheering behind us. Very good there from Miami. I will say it did come down to Booster, unfortunately, did not have very good ults there. Like there, he basically exploded immediately, but getting spicy there, and then immediately being able to do this. Very good Wuyang gameplay as well. Like, even though it felt like Miami didn't really have control of the ult economy as much as they would have, usually they do manage to win this series just thanks to them honestly just having more game sense of where to let push the cart. They realize it was also very fortunate them getting able to push that cart so close to the halfway point that they were just able to hold it there, and it allows them to just jump off the bridge. They're allowed to have 2 fights as long as they push it far enough.
Yes, I don't think UC was expecting how the strategy was going to go when it comes down to making a response to this, because it left them in a very odd predicament after the Kasune rush, because all that Miami needed to do was just kite backwards, and it just left a big area of just needing to have to keep that aggression going, where they had no options because of how many different off angles there were. It was just a very strong showing, especially toward On this recently. I really feel like the Genji play shined through the moment they picked it, and it just showed even during the engagements against the fellow Genji, engagements in the back line, all of which just really showed just how strong Miami's aggression is with hybrid, with dive, and even a little bit of poking with the mix of it itself, thanks to the Wuyang and the Kiri.
I will say highlights of this, Pooter being able to realize when to position correctly, not to explode. He did have a few little poor ults there where he did blow up, but it was also due to Cincinnati realizing just target the healers when he's ulting and it'll just explode. Very unfortunate there, but he did manage to get a pick a few times and allowed him to do a lot. Him realizing to know when to kite back and when to back up helped immensely. And then also going to the Wuyang pick, Alfonso being able to play Wuyang those last 2 maps helped so much. I will feel like Cincinnati banning Wuyang on first map didn't really help them out. They probably should have saved that ban a little bit later, and Miami does win the series, and because of that, they do qualify for the in-person Nittany Invitational LAN, but they are going to still play another map because map differential, as we mentioned earlier, does matter quite a lot. So now that Miami is sitting 4-1-1. They are sitting a little bit good now. However, if it comes down to it, their seeding will matter on what the maps are, and what if they're when it comes win rate and then map picks. So if there is another team who either 4-0 or 3-1, they might get a worse seeding because of the map differential. So we will see what our team will be later on. We have to wait for all the matches to finish, which we might have been one of the last ones because we did go to 3. But going back to that map, honestly, Nitrous Oxide being Snow Seeky with the teleports, he had a few little missteps here and there trying to save someone who's about to die, but went into an ult a few times. But managing to get out of a few of them, very good from him. Alfonso, beautiful Wii on gameplay. He has shown so much promise on this character. He's doing so well. And then, of course, Sire, honestly, he stepped up there. He hit so many shots on Rohan, even though it was kind of even between both of them. Rohan at the beginning was a lot better, but Sire was just like, if I can't 1v1 this guy, I'm just burst on the tank. And it was helping so much. The fact they were picking the tank first nearly every fight helped them out a lot. So good there for Miami. We will see what team we face next at 9:15. We will go on a little bit of a break. Until then, we will see you all then. And we are here with game 2 of the night against Maryland, University of Maryland. Both teams 3-0, and we needed to get a few maps here against Maryland, considering our map differential right now is not the best, 4-1-1, which if we don't win any maps will put us at low seeding for the actual LAN tournament. Even though we are qualified, we want to get a higher seed to maybe get a bye, maybe get better picks against worse teams. So we'll see what we decide to play. For our first map, we are going to Antarctic Peninsula. Not very favorite of the control point maps, probably some people's least favorite map overall. And for their Maryland has banned Hazard for us, and we have banned Tracer, which is a very interesting bans considering that Maryland, from what we understand, used to be a very high profile Zarya Reaper team before last time we played them in the previous Penn State LAN about a year ago. That's what they played. They played it before it was meta as it is now. So we'll see what they'll probably decide to play it, and we will probably mirror if I had to guess.
Yes, I am actually very intrigued to see that this was the choice that they made for their competition of wanting to most likely run into a Zarya kind of meta with each other, as they have removed both Hazard and Tracer. Tracer from Miami side and Hazard from the side of Maryland. Most likely, with Arctic Peninsula being a very close quarter match, it will be up to seeing how the isolated angles go versus both teams and seeing who can hold that walkway down just securely enough to be able to capture point and keep point holding for the entirety of this round.
Antarctic Peninsula is a very interesting map because of the way its different points are diverse, and we are here on the center control point. Can't remember the exact name of it, but it's very open. There's a combative single hallway on the right and a little bit of a high rise on the left. It is very imperative to control that right alleyway type area to allow your hit scans to get some shots off. And it does seem like University of Maryland is running up what we said, the Zarya Reaper double flex, interestingly enough, from University of Maryland, which is pretty meta right now. Double flex is what you see a lot of times in ranked and high level play right now. A little interesting to see the double Lucio come out when Wuyang is open, but it does seem like Wuyang isn't the best on our Peninsula.
No, I was expecting there to be a little bit more of a showing from Wu Yang, but as soon as I saw the options that were going to be available from the angle, I just feel like Lucio and Kira are going to be just much more strong in terms of their engagements. When, if anything, it leaves an option for Reaper and Zarya to work together in this next engagement. But it will be up to seeing how Cassie responds to the Reaper, as they will be doing a dual flank together.
Hit that headshot, not very bad, not hitting that. Tony melts down Sire. He was a little too aggressive there. Pooter needs to get a little bit of a pick here, and they do get it because we're getting JK's and Tony getting on as well. Tony's doing very well keeping track of the enemy, Miami's DPS, and unfortunately Pooter has to get out of there. Nitrous Oxide is not on a lot of health, and he's trying to get him back. They are cutting back quite well, and good boop from Alfonso, but Nitrous does fall thanks to the 3E hitting a little bit of a shot there, and Pooter does get staggered. Very unfortunate there for Miami. Luckily, they do have a little bit of retouch. They don't have much percentage. However, Miami has to play very careful against this team. Tony is a top 10 tank, or used to be, or currently is. Do not know, but he was at one point.
A very unfortunate stagger by Miami, but it still will leave an opportunity to do a re-engagement now after after it was going to be a Genji, a Reaper versus Reaper flank, but JK has eliminated it on very early on. Now having to result in another reset, but with 50% to go, there's still a lot of time to engage this. It will be up to seeing how they play with the Kitsune in this next fight. They will most likely have to be a little bit more aggressive together versus separated.
A little bit of Connor Kitsune coming in from Maryland. Unfortunately, On did not get touched with that that Suzu dying in the process. Boozer does get funny on the counter though. However, Tony got grabbed so much quicker. Both Lucios from both sides go down. Jake Hayes gets Sire, but Boozer gets another counter pick. It seems like a 2v2 right now, and On is back, allowing for some more pressure on the front line. Miami could be able to get a little bit of a cap here. Suzu does come out from a C3E. Tony is on the back line, staying alive. They need to just melt him down. That's perfect. Very good. They cap point and stagger him a little bit. They could get to potentially 30% from that.
A very good turnaround from Miami. It was a little bit having some issues when it came down to trying to get that aggression going, but after enough time, it really got a chance to work out. And with Sire now knocking out the support, it now leaves them with a 4v5 advantage, and now forcing them to most likely do another kite again to most likely try to regroup together. But now that the Zarya is back, it will be up to the Zarya to then take the aggression to them, now forcing them to be in another a very good turnaround from Reaper, forcing them to have now a 3v2, but now most likely going back to the side of Maryland because there will be a need to reset.
Luckily, Pooter is on high charge, so he's able to do a little bit here. Oh, you gotta have on. It does seem Jake Kezis did pick up that, and the beat does come in to save Pooter very at the last second. They need to make this a very good fight. Beat does come out from, but unluckily Sire had the ears on. He had his headset on. He heard Jake Kezis going around the backside. That's a very good pick. Pooter on 90 charge. They need to melt down Tony. Tony is the most dangerous person on the side of Maryland right now. Generous does come out. Very good there from Nitrous Oxide. Very good retouch from Miami. That was looking dangerous with Jake Kezis getting that 3K. And luckily, On and Pooter managed to contest quite a bit for the rest of the team to come back. On did go down, but not before Pooter got the Genji and managed to get a little bit of a save there for very good timing, saving his backline.
A very good save from Zarya and from the rest of their team, regrouping enough to get that point kill. And now there's going to be a chance to where they have one more engagement, but now it will be most likely to do another fight yet again from the side of Maryland, but it will be forced to be a last fight from both teams, as now there will at least be 2 ults versus 1 potential ult coming up. If they play this engagement correctly, this should be a quick cleanup, as long as they make sure to really get a chance to get this pick off on this honestly, for the I was going to say Lucy.
On unfortunately needed to do that to get the retouch, because unfortunately Tony had the grab, and that's the unfortunate part right there. Managing to stop that from touching. University of Maryland winning this first point. That was very well timed there and very unfortunate for Miami. Pooter not being able to build his grab quick enough at the same rate that Tony was, and Tony realizing I'm just going to grab him so they can't touch. That's why On had to rush to the point. He may have timed it a little bit too early. Maybe he could have gotten to the point while the grab came up on the right side. Maybe if he hit a little bit longer, could have touched it and allowed them to maybe live through the grab, because none of them died until the end of it. So we'll see what Miami decides to do to reset some things here.
Yes, very unfortunate that they had to have such a very climactic ending to that, with the Reaper being picked off a little early by the Lucio. Given it was a difference in ults between the two teams, but they still had a very strong showing from both teams. It was very close, and it just ended up being the last fight that ended up making the difference. Now being a second fight battle where it will be a Cassie Genji versus a Reaper Genji. Still same composition, but now when a different opportunity and angle. Unfortunately, still having Sire come down with the objective kill, death early on, falling down a very long stagger. But now getting a chance to reset, it will be up for Maryland's capture, and now it will be up to Miami to respond to this.
Yeah, unfortunate there, Sire going down the stairwell away from the rest of his team. He could have headed left and maybe survived a little bit longer. Has to not peek here too much. It's very unfortunate there, and you can already see the all charge difference between both teams on all sides, except really Nitrous Oxide, because he's healing so much. On going that teleporter on the right side, probably have to wait until he gets that cooldown back up. And it does seem they are going to do a little bit of a hard aggression play here. On using that Wraith a little early, trying to get out a little bit. On solo on the point though, so the rest of Miami has to just kind of rush up. They still are on that Genji. Sire trying to find a little bit of angle here on the backline. Tony getting Pooter down immediately. That's very important. The rest of Maryland can just bomb rush the backline of Miami. Nitrous Oxide getting 2 picks. He managed to kill both Lucio and Reaper on the backline. That is incredible, honestly.
Yes, it seems like there is a very consistent issue of seeming like they are having very long engagements where the staggers are coming down to a very wire. It will be up to them to have to respond to this, but now they have a Reaper to have to respond to, taking very little time off of Miami as they clean up by eliminating the Reaper and the Zarya, leaving room for just a quick cleanup and now having a secure point.
On off the Reaper onto the Genji is a pick I like to see. He can put a lot more pressure on the backline of Maryland, which hasn't had a lot of pressure on them at all this game, except for big ults. Miami University does have some ults coming up. However, Maryland is at 70%, so if they cap it, they'll have maybe one more touch. We will see from both sides. Nitrous Oxide barely getting away in that last fight. However, I will say Alfonso hitting a very nice boop on the ulting Reaper on the side of Maryland. Under a very bad position. Grab does come out, but they do have the counter ult. We do see him. Oh, and they do get Tony with a very good combo. Alfonso realizing he wouldn't be able to get the full Deadeye charge up. Very nice there from Miami, popping 2 ults to win a fight and also survive, potentially fight winning ult. That is very nice. Please don't go over there, Poot. I'd rather not see a boop on a map that doesn't really have boops.
Yes, I really liked that showing from Genji. He was very quick to pick off this Zarya, noticing that the Cassidy high knee was not going to be enough in that moment, but now they have a Genji plus a Zarya to see how they respond to this. It will be 2 off, 2 on from both teams, and now we'll be up to seeing how they respond to this very last fight. Will be up to both teams doing some quick cleanup from each other, but it will be On finishing the fight for Miami University with a very crispy triple kill.
Ooh. I see that. Very good there from him, realizing target prioritization, sawing that the gear goes so low. University of Maryland doesn't really have the grab built up nearly at all because he's been getting picked so quickly. Miami does have 2 ults coming up in the form of Blade and Curie Rush, which can be very good. They need to save this for like probably 80%, and here it comes. Big play going in here. The Blade might be coming up soon. Everyone may want to save it. He is going to save it for a little bit. Siren needs to not die. They need to keep Pooter up and get him back. And that put enough pressure. And now on the recontest, we'll probably see the Blade coming out from On. He needs to be able to do this. And, yep, there he goes. They need to get the Lucio. Lucio went a little too aggressive. They allowed to get the pick there. Pizza Rush does come out. Jake Keys oh, beautiful double tap from Sire. Alfonso Einon do go down, and Tony gets 2. What is happening? Wait, they're just not really touching. Beautiful. That was very scary for a second there, but Pooter was full health with high charge. They get this second point. Very good there. Get great ult economy, great ult usage, good timing all around from the team, good call outs for targets. Seeing that Lucio going a little too far on the right, instantly you see 3 people switch to get him.
Yes, it was actually a very good showing from both Pooter Scooter and On. I was expecting there to be honestly another triple kill from On, but it seemed that it was just a little bit too much to ask for. But it seemed like Pooter Scooter was very much right behind him, ready to clean up anything that was left over, and was able to even keep the point secure with aggression toward the point enough to not only keep point held, but to secure the point, now leading us to round 3 of this map.
Yeah, we'll see what both teams decide to do here. It does seem that Sire is going to that Sojourn, which is honestly, I feel, is a little bit of a better pick on this high ground. So you have to control it so heavily on this 3rd point inside the cave. You hold this left side, you hold the map pretty much. And Jake Keys is falling really low at the beginning. Pooter also very low. He needs to back up. Wraith does come out from Jake Kezis. They need to do a little bit here. Tony not really building this all too quickly. They need to do something here, and it does seem like Miami's a little split. They are on the low ground trying to control it. We do see a Genji duel on the main point. Both Tony and Aiden, beautiful. Little bit of a mess up there from Funny, not dashing onto the high ground, immediately hitting a wall. Kind of bad mechanics there. Miami does control the point, then immediately runs to this high ground to control it. Now with Funny gone, there's a lot of pressure off their backline. Who's just running in, saying screw it. If they can get some picks here, that'd be very nice. Trying to get Tony as much as possible, but he needs to play safe. This Reaper can really melt him down just like that. Funny came back at the wrong time for Miami. Really trying to get as much percentage here as possible. They do get a pick. Alfonso does get a pick on Kemp, and Aiden or On does get a pick on to Jake Kezis. They do get at least to probably 35%, which isn't that bad, all things considered, losing your tank that early.
Yes, it was very interesting how they played that last fight. I was expecting that fight to go in the favor of Maryland, honestly, but it seemed that both teams had an idea of how they wanted to hold high ground, and Miami had the better option of capturing point first and then engaging high ground. Unfortunately, only it seemed to go back to the common denominator of a little bit of issues getting back after a stagger, but now leading to a reset. It seems that both teams will have a chance to re-engage this as long as Miami gets a chance to kite back. And yes,
unfortunate there. Not a lot of healing could be seen on or Pooter Scooter, and they do get picked off. Very good Kitsana rush coming out from Maryland, and Miami didn't really want to pop a lot of counter ults. Microsoft once again does get a pick before he dies, which is what you want to see from a gear player. And University of Maryland is now up to 4 ults here. Miami has to make something do with this Kitsana rush, and hopefully not get countered by a Grav. They really need something to happen here.
Very unfortunate early fight loss, but it seems that they might have another chance to regroup on this right around the time of 60 seconds. But now with the Kitsune, they have a chance to re-engage this from a very aggressive output, and maybe even considering a free capture after this, but there was a Zarya bubble to counter it, now forcing it to be a loss from Alfonso, but still, maybe after a little bit of engagement there, nope, it will be a reset. Was trying to be a little hopeful, thinking that they still had a chance to have that be aggressed, but only Nitrous was able to get a pick off on that last fight, and now resulting in a very potential last fight.
Maryland now has 3 ults to work with, and Reaper ult is kind of deadly here. He's on the other side of the wall trying to get a little bit sneaky. Miami Sire is on that OC along with Pooter's grab. Reaper is trying to do a little bit of aggressive play. He did pop Wraith early. They might just want to get him. Blade comes in. There it is. Beat Blade and Blossom, killing pretty much all of Miami. They do manage to recap because there was no one on. They may have a second touch depending on how quick. Never mind. Unfortunately, I do not believe that will be a second touch. Maryland takes map 1 Antarctic Peninsula 2-1. Good fight there from Miami. They did get that second point, managing to make it 1-1. Unfortunately, Maryland just having ults quicker and more quickly, and using them in better solutions than Miami there at the end, only popping 1 ult really to win a fight. And then seeing how close they were to that second fight win, was winning that map. They're just like popping all of it. Very good plays though all around from both of them. On and Pooter here, and then also good plays all the way around from Miami, but unfortunately Maryland just better at ult economy on that map.
Yes, I honestly was a little bit worried for Miami during the second round after I saw that there was a bit of some issues involving when it came down to the strengths of both teams, where it seems that Miami was very much being highlighted toward how well they could focus the point, making sure that the objective percentage came before trying to do unnecessary fights. That being said, it seemed that the common denominator of issue that I kept seeing was the factor of staggering, where it seemed that every single time there was a fight that was potentially lost, there were moments where it swung back in the favor of Miami, but then it just seemed that it just kept having too many moments more than not where it would go a bit unfortunate more than that, and leading to just a couple moments where we could have just had a couple more re-engages, a couple more moments where we could have had more collective off angles of the team, but instead having to do a long cleanup with the hopes of the best. I feel like for this next round it will be a much stronger showing from Miami, but it will have to be up to how they respond to how Maryland likes to dissect the staggers a bit more longevity wise.
I also do believe that a lot of that came down to the fact that Miami is not really comfortable on the Antarctic Peninsula, as a lot of these control points they usually are comfortable on. It is not one you see a lot played in regular season. Usually you see the Lijiangs, the Oasis, the sometimes randomly Nepal, and a lot of Samoa. Seeing Antarctic be picked kind of maybe threw them for a little bit of a loop. They haven't really played it as much as they should have, and that does experience on a map together is very important, and that Reaper did put up a lot of problems, and that's why we just get information that we did ban the Reaper on Servasa, which, as we said earlier, Servasa, one of our best maps by far, one we can do a lot of work on. And Reaper was the thing that was causing us a lot of issues. We nearly lost second point early because of the Reaper hitting that 3K Blossom, and he's putting so much pressure on Pooter. It does feel like a lot of times it comes down to the fact this Reaper is doing a lot more to the enemy team than On could do on Reaper to them. And Pooter is playing in a way where this Reaper can really just work the back line. And we'll see what Maryland decides to ban in return for that here in a few moments. But back to that Antarctic game, Miami, I felt, played quite well. However, I do feel like Wuyang, maybe not on first or second, but third point, it may have held a little bit just to put a little bit more pressure on that Zarya on the front line. Not having the speed of Lucio would have been a little bit bad in some cases, but maybe trying to switch it up for like a fight or two, see what happens. There was a lot of dead fights at the beginning there because we just fell over one person too quickly, and also their ult economy was a lot better than ours in a lot of instances. Tony was building ults a little bit faster than Pooter at some moments. The only one who was really 1-for-1 on ult economy was the Kiris, which makes sense given how quickly you can build ult on that character. So we'll see what both teams decide to play on Servasa. And with Reaper banned, we probably will see a Genji. And however, a lot of Maryland's main strat is that Reaper Zarya combo. So we'll see what they decide to do. We did ban Tracer, so we'll see what they decide to ban this next. If they decide to play Tracer on Servasa, considering Tracer is not a bad pick. We will be heading on to a little bit of a break here while we wait for Maryland's ban. It does seem like they're taking a little bit of time, so we'll be right back here in a moment. we banned Reaper? They banned. Oh, and we are back with map 2, Servasa, our pick after losing that round. And we do get a little bit of a ban here. We banned Tracer or not Tracer, God. We banned Reaper, and the enemy team banned Lucio. So we will be seeing the Alfonso Wu Young come out with Nitrous Oxide on the Curie. We'll see what they decide to do, and we do see the Tracer Genji on the side of Maryland. That's why we hit that. We did the Tracer ban at the start last map. We'll see what Miami does into this Tracer. Sire's gonna have to play a little bit defensive here for his support to get this Tracer off their back. But we do have the Wu Yang, which helps into it with that knockback and that damage output. It does seem we nearly have a cap here, and we do get the first cap with the some percentage up. Even though we're still in this midst of this first fight, nothing's really happening yet. This Tracer is doing very well, pulling Nitrous's attention and Alfonso's attention as well. Sire falling super low, and he gets meleeed by Jake Kizis. Pryor falling really low, and he also gets meleeed. That's very unfortunate. That is the unfortunate part of having to deal with the Tracer, is it takes all of your attention. Miami does get about 36%, so if they win a fight and recap, they could get this point easily.
Yes, I actually really like this change of having a Tracer versus the Cassidy and a Genji v Genji. I feel like it really leaves Miami a lot more opportunities to do mid-range fights, and now forces the Tracer to have to pick a lot more aggressive angles against potentially the Cassidy, the Wu Young, the many opportunities. Now it goes not only with the 38% versus 39%, it gives one last fight to really really turn the favors back toward Miami.
Very good there on getting on that low health. Pryor is has to play a little defensive here. He doesn't have both his supports on him. And here comes the Container Rush coming in from Nitrous Oxide. And the counter Container Rush. But Tony falls before it comes out. Very good. And Clip Balloon down as well. A little bit of a waste there from Maryland. That's very good for Miami. Getting out the Container Rush and still managing to pick 2 out of it. Very nice there. Maryland didn't lose all their members though, so they may have a quick retouch here. And unfortunately, Miami will have to win this next fight, even though Maryland does have 4 ults coming up. However, On does have the Blade coming up. That'll come in permanent. They have to be able to force this Curie teleport out and get her down. Because without Curie, a lot of healing for both sides gets gone. So we'll see what they decide to do. We do have a fight coming here on the left side. It does seem like Blade comes in. He does get grabbed. Trying to deflect it all, and he does get double bubbled to survive. Unfortunately, that's a lot gone from Miami. Sire does have the ult. He might want to pop it a little bit early here to get some pressure. There it is. Oh, no. The bubble does come out, but it wasn't enough. Alfonso got pulse bombed by Jekizis. That's very bad. Funny also has the blade to cover. And Tony managed to get Scooter down and C3E getting on. That was very unfortunate there. We didn't have enough bubbles or enough damage to save Sire from getting that double pick there. He couldn't really do enough. So unfortunately, first point will be going to Maryland. Miami has to really focus up here. They have some ults ahead of Maryland to win a few fights. We do have Grab coming up, but Maryland, Tony already has his at 35%.
Yes, I was not expecting there to be a loss from Miami's side, but there always needs to be a chance to reset and regroup, and now they get a chance to have second point captured. If they can just get this Genji off. Oh, but now it will be up to the Genji flank against the Cassidy, forcing them to be a domino against Sire. But now that both teams have a chance to address it, might be a chance to maybe have some cleanup. Unfortunately not. It will be another capture by Maryland. There needs to be a very good point holding against this Tracer and this Genji. It seems that the Tracer and Genji are really showing their strides right now. Most likely a couple flanks that are just not being looked at, or maybe even just a couple moments where the Genji just need to be grouped up on. So either way, Miami needs to have an answer and have an answer very soon, because now they have to deal with the Kasune as well.
Booter just gets melted down. Very unfortunate. Jake Hughes also pops pulse, getting Sire. That's really unfortunate. Oh, picking that. May have been in there to die there. But unfortunately, he's a little stuck in that corner, trying to just survive. We do have to point out that Miami did pop Grab and Katina Rush in the fight at the beginning of this point and lost, which is very bad. Using those 2 important ults that early is a little bit of a tempo loss for Miami, and the Grab does come in. And Slayer getting stuck on the other side of the wall, getting picked immediately. Pooter also falling super low. And they do get 2 though on the trade, both DPS, but I don't think it matters. And On does touch the point. Whoa, a little bit interesting here. But they do counter ult with C3E. They do get a little bit of a pushback. On does fall because of Tony though, that's the only issue. And fortunately, Miami popped another ult there and lost another point. They're 2-0. They need to do something to change this tempo of this match.
Yes, I am. I just really need them to just have a couple more moments where they're engaged together. It seems there's always these subtle moments where they're just getting separated individually, where it's even one or maybe two of their players where they need to just be able to have a chance to regroup with this. But it seems like there is going to be a change from On to go to Tracer to match the enemy Tracer. It will be Cassie versus Tracer now. It will be interesting to see how this changes. Most likely going to be a much faster fight with the Zarya, Wooyoung, and the Tracer together.
Yeah, On full going that play to get the Tracer switch, and they do get the Container Rush to go in. Tony falling really low. If they manage to pick Tony, it'd be very good. And they do manage to pick on Tony. However, On does fall in the duel against a little bit of a miss Suzu there, but they do manage to win the point. Funny also falling as well. Jakezis, however, Ireland is coming up on a lot of ults here. Miami also coming up with some very strong ults here. They really need to get this ult economy back. Like I said a few nights ago, ult economy wins fights or wins map. So that flashpoint.
100%. I really agree with that. I feel like they just need one more opportunity. This might be the opportunity to really turn the favor. Just maybe enough time if they just can get a chance to re-engage, but just not enough time. Forcing Tony off though, then now having a advantage in tank health pool. Forcing there to be a regroup again from Maryland, but now even more so getting there to be an aggression from Miami's side with Wooyoung. Unfortunately not resulting in any deaths, so now potentially not having ult for later, but now they have a point captured all the way up until about 80%. Shows that now that this is going into the last fight territory, but now picking off On again. The system was just picking off On. Needs to get back together with this little reboot. But now having to do most likely a full reset due to that one early stagger. It will potentially be a much longer fight now, coming up with 1 to 2 fights from Miami's side, but just a little bit unfortunate to see that not be a full hold.
On going on to the tour, which honestly isn't a bad pick in the 2 flanking DPS like Maryland have currently. C3E, Jexus, and Funny all 3 have their ults, and Tony's coming up in his grab soon. They could really spiral this point out of control, and the map in general. Miami doesn't have much coming up besides the Container Rush. There goes the Blade, trying to protect his backline. Unfortunately, Nexus gets fallen, and there it is. 1 Volt wins a fight for Maryland. Miami really needs to do something here. They need this ult from Nitrous Oxide to be very good, and Jexus to miss his Pulse Bomb. However, with the Grav, they do have the Pulse Bomb Grav combo, which could be a game winner if they do hit it.
Yes, I'm really hoping that they can point out where the Tracer is, and at least where the Wooyoung is, because now it's forcing them to be an aggression from the Tracer that they have to engage on, but they can't engage on it because of the Graph. Now forcing there to be a most likely is potential last fight. They need to get a chance to regroup with this, but there's just not a lot of time. It was up to the Wooyoung to most likely do, or maybe Hooter to even get a chance to re-engage this. This is just going to be a very sloppy fight. Unfortunately, it had to result in it being from Maryland's side. A very strong showing from Maryland. If anything, just a lot of moments where the ult economy was just that much of a difference between the two. It was very surprising. I did not expect there to be such repeated strides from their enemy Wooyoung. Just seemed to continuously get the Genji in, continuously allow the Zarya to aggress, continually to just keep our Tracer, our Torb, our Genji from being able to be as aggressive.
And that will end our series here. Miami ending the qualifying round of the Nittany Invitational LAN, going 3-1 with a map differential of 4-1-3. So they will be in a little bit of a lower seed bracket, but they should still qualify for the LAN. They should be in guaranteed. And University of Maryland being very well off, being 4-0, they'll probably be one of the top seeds in coming to the LAN. That was very good there from Maryland. Unfortunately, Miami couldn't really adjust too much on switching to a lot of things, didn't really know what to do fully. Hopefully this can be a learning lesson, because this is the first time Miami really had this much of a roughhousing from an enemy team. And granted, it makes sense. We are in this Zarya Reaper double flex meta right now, and Miami's just not used to playing that. It is they do not. Pooter's gone off the record and said he does not enjoy going up against or playing Zari himself, and because he just doesn't enjoy the feeling of the character of the way it works. He has been practicing a lot, but against Maryland, who have been playing this Zarya double flex comp since before it was good, like nearly a year ago, they worked out this very well and managed to take a map through Miami that they haven't really lost that much on, which is very unfortunate. So this will be the end of our stream. We do not once again have the OU match tomorrow night. That will be rescheduled. We will let you all know through our social medias and or another stream coming next week, because I do believe we do have some Smash Brothers Ultimate on Monday. We will be going back to our regular scheduled ESC next week as well. There will be no more of these qualifying matches. This was the last one. So we will see you all next week. This has been Xander Lewis.
And this is Elijah Persuasions.
And we will see you next week.